doing a little install today on the old Landau 75 model Ford. So I put this in the other day, nice Optima. But even with the new battery, sometimes it just doesn't seem to be charging right. And I've measured the alternator and it's actually putting out not too bad. It's putting out 14.3 volts. So there shouldn't be any problems. Half the reason I think it is because that little skinny wire right there, with the little bit of yellow on it, as you can see right in the middle of the screen, that is actually the wire charging of the alternator. Now, we're going to be replacing it with my KnuKonceptz 0gauge, which is the same stuff I got in the Jackaroo. So that'll be from the alternator, and I'll be doing grounds. Just want to show you, here's some 12 gauge speaker wire, and if I put that next to it, it's actually thicker. I'll be leaving in the 4 gauge from when I put an amp in ages ago. Do comment if you were actually subscribed to me when you saw me put that in. Right, first thing first, gave it a degrease and a bit of a clean just so it's a better place to work in. Probably hard to tell, but it's definitely cleaner. That's your factory ground, and that's what it's going to be. Put a nice little cap on it there. All soldered in. I use a different solder to some people. I use like a separate flux and thick solder. There's 2 of them made. That's the 2 grounds. So yeah, one's to the factory block and one's so that white thing just there I'm pointing at. Below that there's a bolt and it bolts that in, so I'm just going to use that for the ground there. And so I've just taken off the positive. So the way it worked is it goes alternator to that there, which is kind of like a distribution, you know what I mean, like everything, all the positives of the car kind of come from there. Obviously one's going to the fuse box, obviously the distributor, the starter motor, all different things go from there. So I'm going to leave that factory power wire to there, okay, and then one came off there to the battery. So all I'm doing is joining the battery to the alternator, so it's direct, which means that thing there is still connected to the battery. There's the positive and the 2 negs. Negatives are massive, but it doesn't really matter. These nice looking, these ones. I gave it a pic of those, and those proper Tsunami, nice looking ones. Everything's attached at one end to the car and to the alternator. So that's all that. I will give the wire a bit of a clean. It's all dirty and greasy still. So besides that, ready to hook it up. There we have the finished product. I would run these perfectly together, but you can't because obviously the rings hit. So that's that. Otherwise it looks like one straight one, but you look on the side it's 2. There's the grounds, and we've got the nice 0 gauge run there. Pretty happy with that, and I definitely think it's makes the engine bay look a bit better. Even though it's fucking old and dirty, but yeah, I think it blends in pretty good with the leads. Looks like it's flowing. And the red, which I'll definitely get rid of, that 4 gauge one day and replace it with 0 gauge. There might be installs coming up on this in the future, not near future, but yeah, one day I'm going to rebuild this whole thing, and there's how I started: battery and wire and big 3. So anyway, just noticed I got a bulb out. That's that.